Assalamu alaikum. In today's lecture, we shall discuss conditional effect of X on Y. In most of the models, including X, Y, and third variables like mediators and moderators, today we shall discuss the conditional effect or the effect of a third variable called moderator, which affects the X and Y relationships through playing or creating indirect effects. Why we call it conditional effect, we will go into its detail in the course of our lecture. The model we will use for our research question is the Model-1 from Hayes database. His model is given in his documents, which appear like that X and Y relationship is conditionally affected by a moderator, here represented by M, which changes the total effect of X on Y. It is called conditional in the sense that, for example, in our case, we are using the moderator in the form of a categorical variable, but which has been dummy coded into 0 and 1 as per requirements of using Model-1. So in this case, we are using gender as the moderator, and the conditional effect means that as the respondent changes from male to female or female to male, then the effect of X on Y also changes. That is given in the literature and supported by a lot of field studies, that X and Y relationships are moderated by, are conditionally affected by the third variables like the moderators, for which we are using gender as the third variable. The model has to be supported by a research question, to which the model will help in analyzing the data statistically to answer. The research question is that how far gender increases or decreases the effects of political awareness on political activism, meaning that we are assuming that as per literature, when the case for X affecting Y is under discussion, then the type of respondent as a male or female changes the effect of X on Y. That is the research question, and we shall test it with our field data that how far this is correct. The statistical model of this Model-1 is like this. Here you can see that X and M, an interaction term has been used to predict that how far the moderator is bringing change in the test variable or Y variable. So our hypothesis is that gender significantly increases and decreases the effects of political awareness on political activism. So let's move to SPSS and compute the statistics as per the dimensions of our research question, supported by Model-1 by Hayes. In SPSS, we have the database which has 4 variables, and we will make use of 3 variables. First is the political awareness, PAX, political awareness. The dependent variable is political activism, and gender is the moderator we are going to test as the conditional variable to change the effects of X on Y. Regression and process model. We have to give the variables to the process. Our independent variable political awareness. Political activism is the dependent variable or outcome variable, and the gender will be placed in this column of M variable, where we placed in previous models the mediators, but when you are using model 1, then as per instructions of the creators of the models, the moderator will be placed in this box, and the model will itself recognize whether it is to be used as mediator or moderator. In options, total effect and 3 decimal places for the outputs. And finally, we will select the model, model 1, for analyzing the impacts of gender on the X and Y relationship. Press OK and wait for the results. It takes a few moments because a lot of bootstrapping occurs. So here are the results. I have posted them on the slideshow. Let's go there to discuss each item one by one and test the hypothesis and finally answer the research question and close our lecture with conclusions. The first output from the process model is, as usual, the descriptive statistics about the research variables we have inserted into the process model. It tells that model 1 from Hayes macros have been used, and we have added Y variable, the political activism, which is the test variable, and X variable, the political awareness, as the predictor or the main X variable, and gender M variable, which will be used or which have been used as the moderator. The first output regarding the impacts of predictors on the dependent variable, in our case political activism. This table shows that 3 variables have been used to predict political activism. One is the moderator, gender. Second is the political awareness, the X variable. And third is the interaction term. This interaction term is, as per rules of moderation, created by multiplying the centered values of moderator and the centered values of X variable. The multiplication of these centered values creates a new variable, third variable, called interaction or interaction term. So these 3 variables, they have been used to predict Y variable or political activism. So let's see the results. R square is 0.517, 52% of change in Y variable is coming because of these 3 variables. This result is significant because the p value is 0.000, which is far less than required 0.05. In coefficients result, we can see that gender is negatively and very hugely connected with Y variable, holding 1.69 as the coefficient score. It is significant with 3.8, the value which is far greater than the required limit of 1.96. P value is also 0.000, less than 0.05, and both the lower and upper limits of confidence interval, they are in with 0 signs, with minus signs, therefore showing that there cannot be a 0 between the range. So all the supporting statistics are confirming that gender has significant effect on political activism. However, it is negative. Next, political awareness, the main X variable of this model. It has coefficient of 0.255, which is significant with t-score of 3.04 greater than 1.96. P-value is also less than 0.05, so significant. And both the lower and upper limits of confidence interval, they have positive signs, and therefore both fall on the same side with no chance of 0 between the range. Third, the interaction term, it has huge coefficient of 0.487 with t-score of 4.799, which is greater than 1.96. P-score is also significant, and similarly the lower and upper confidence interval, they are also significant. The interaction term is also significantly affecting political activism. So we can see that all three variables, they have played a role in bringing 52% change in the Y variable. Now let's go to the results in terms of effects. The conditional effect of X on Y at values of moderator. Now these results show that when the X is affecting Y through moderator, then what happens? So when the moderator is female, 0.000 is showing, referring to the female group of respondents, and 1 is representing the male group of respondents. Results show that when it is female, then the effect is 0.255. It is significant with t-score of 3.0004, which is greater than 1.96. P-value is also significant, far less than 0.05, and both lower and upper limits of the confidence interval, they are on positive side, therefore no 0 in the range. So 0.255 is the effect when the respondent or the actor in the model is female, then the effect is around 0.255 and it is significant. And second, that when the model is used for male respondent, then the effect goes from 0.255 to 0.742, which is huge and far greater than the score given by the female respondents. The result is significant with t-score of 12.96, which is far greater than 1.96. P-value is also significant, and lower and upper limits of confidence interval, since they have positive signs, therefore no chance of 0 in the middle or in the range. So both the effects of female respondents and male respondents are significant. However, the visible thing is that there is a big difference between when the respondents, female respondents, are affecting the Y variable as the indirect effect of X on Y as compared to the male respondents. So that was all about the application of Model-1 for testing the impacts of third variable, the moderator, and a categorical variable which has been computed into or converted into dummy variable for getting a continuous variable as per requirements of Model-1. The results show that there is substantial difference as well as it is significant as well. So we can draw the following conclusions from this analysis: that C prime path has been changed substantially and significantly. Gender, male represented by 1 and female represented by 0, has significant and huge effects on the cause and effect relationships between political awareness, between political awareness and the test variable political activism. Male respondents have greater impacts of their political awareness on the political activism. And finally, there are significant though lesser effects of female political awareness on their political activism. So that was all about the use of Model 1 for testing the hypothesis regarding the indirect effects or conditional effects of a moderator on a situation of X and Y cause and effect relationships. In our next video, we shall explain how two moderators can be used on the C prime path to change the indirect effects of X on Y. So, for the time being, Khuda Hafiz, see you in the next video.